A long time ago, in a less enlightened age known as 1998, Semisonic had just released Closing Time, and the Jennifer Aniston Bob was all the rage. But one shining light out of that year was that a game came out from Richard Breeze called Keydom, which would 2 years later in the year 2000 be rethemed as Aladdin's Dragons, a fun, fantastical worker placement game. Now, the year is 2022, Aladdin's Dragons has been rethemed, and by rethemed I mean it's been unthemed back into this is Keydom's Dragons. Hey folks, Chris here. Welcome out to the Dice Tower. Today I'm taking a look at Keydom's Dragons, the re-implementation of Aladdin's Dragons, which was originally Keydom, right? This is a game for 1 to 6 players. The original Aladdin's, I call it the original. Aladdin's Dragons was a game for 3 to 5, so this brings it down not to 1, but to not to 2, but to 1. It's a soloable. It has a 2-player mode, and it plays up to 6 players. I'm going to show you how this game plays, assuming that you don't know how to play Aladdin's Dragons, but if you do, skip ahead. There's a section where I'll talk about the solo mode and a few little differences, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts, so let's show you how it plays. Welcome to the town of Keydom. There be dragons in them thar hills. These dragons poop out resources that we're going to be trying to gather to then pay for these magical items or these wonderful items up here, which are both victory points, but also special abilities that we can activate from having them. So this is a worker placement game wherein players will be taking turns one at a time, putting one of their workers out onto the board face down into one of these different spots. So you won't know what the total value is. Whoever has the highest total value at the end of the round when we reveal all of the tokens will get to activate that spot. There's 3 main chunks of the board down here. Based on this card reveal is the dragon market. We can go and get these gems from the dragons. We're going to resolve them in this order. And then from here, we're going to go up to the key town itself, where we would then activate these abilities, which will give us some little boosts. We'll go to the guard gate. If we place a worker or multiple workers here that exceed the guard's value, anywhere between 1 through 10, then we get to go into the castle itself, and whoever has the majority, the highest value of workers up here, will get to try to spend those gems in order to buy these. So, on a turn, you can place out a worker face down somewhere. Now, this is done behind a player screen here, but for the purposes of this game explanation, I'm not going to use the player screen, though it does have a great explanation of what all of the different magical amulets and items and stuff up here are. After I've gone, then the yellow player will come over here, the red player will put one of these out over here, and we continue in this manner. You can put multiple workers in the same spot. You can assign any number that you want over here. And you want to have the majority. You notice that in these gem spaces, you want to have majority, but also second place is not bad because majority gets these tokens, second place will get the next one, third place if there are any, and you can see that some of these cards have all of these cards will have different setups, and these are based on player count. Now after you resolve these places down here in majority order, I would get all of these gems, yahoo, and then yellow would get these ones. Imagine, of course, we put out all the workers. Then we come over here. Stables allows you to choose who the first player is going to be. You don't really want to be first player in this game because you can react the best. So maybe I would have, if I had this over here, I would assign someone else to become the first player so that I could be last in turn order. Over here in the market, you can trade in, if you have the majority here, 1 gem for 3 other gems. You can even trade in 1 gem for one of itself and then 2 other gems if you so desire. Over here in the cottage, if you have the majority in this space, it allows you to activate 2 of your tokens instead of 1, because you're only allowed to activate 1 of these per round. You can activate 1 of your tokens at any time by placing it in front of your player screen. This will allow you to do it twice. This space over here allows you to draw magic cards. If you have the majority, you draw 2 magic cards, look at them, keep 1, and then you give the other one to the person who had the second most. So 8 to 4, I would get the leftover magic card here. Now, over here in the guard gate, we would reveal the guard gate and see that, oh, he was a strength 4. So whoever put tokens of there that are at least 4 or higher would then get to proceed into the town area, or into the castle area itself. So in this case, yellow is eliminated. If yellow had any workers over here to try to get victory points, they would be kicked out by the guard. Then we move into the actual castle rooms itself, and we look at the majorities in each area. Yellow got kicked out, so cannot pay gems to try to win this token over here. So they would remove both of their workers from there. Over here, we're going to reveal, hey, red bid 9 and I bid 1. Red has priority because they have the highest bid, but they would have to pay 9 resources of the same type in order to be able to win this tile. If a player cannot win one of these, their token is removed, and then the next place, the next highest bid, gets to go. Since I bid 1, I could pay 1 gem, and I could get this tile, and now I have more victory points than everybody else. You can also put multiple workers, if you want, into the same room here, but what this would mean is that I would have to pay 2 gems of one color and 1 gem of a different one. The more different workers you have here, the more different colored gems you have to pay. And then you start a new round and you play until all of these are gone. Whoever has the most item tokens is the winner of the game. Now, once per turn, as I mentioned, you're also able to play one of these tokens. This one here allows me to play magic cards that I've gathered from here. This one over here allows me to double any single worker I have out on the board. So this allows you to cancel one player's magic spell, but that is your token activation for the whole turn. These over here are going to be tiebreakers. Keys let you get past the guard room without having to put any people there. There's some different ones, like I said, shown here on the player's screen. This is a good explanation of what they all do. That's the basic game. Let me show you what's different with the solo game now. The setup for a solo game is very similar. You have your own player area, of course. You don't have to hide anything because you are not playing against other people. But there are 2 ghost setups here. These ghosts are going to be the computer, the Automa players. So on a ghost turn, while you do your normal turn, you can even just put your tokens face up. A ghost will reveal the top card over here, and this is going to be where they place their workers. They will place 7 of their 8 workers each round. So this action card here says the cave with the most treasures, so they would put one of the tokens over here. Then the next ghost would go, and this one says go to the room with the fewest workers, and it's got a little tiebreaker sequence. If there is no room with the most workers up in the castle, go to a castle room where there's an artifact the ghost doesn't have. If there's a tiebreaker needed even between that, go to the rightmost of the active rooms, assuming there were treasures here, of course. So we continue playing out this way, flipping over these atomic cards. They will occasionally be earning spells, magic spells, and if they earn spells, they will put those over in this waiting area, and then for the next round, they will shuffle the spell cards into the deck, so that if, during the turn, the top card is a spell card instead of an action card, they will spend their turn revealing a spell and playing its ability. In this one, so rather than using the main box area, you will use the ghost ability of the card. This one says the ghost gains 2 spell cards, so it's going to have more time in the game. When the ghost spends a spell card, it doesn't play an action card, meaning that it doesn't put out a worker for that round, delaying how long it's going to take before this ghost finishes putting out its 7 of the 8 workers, whereas you have a guaranteed 8 workers each round. Play continues this way until all of the workers have been spent, and then you reveal them. Ghost tokens have 2 different values, you'll notice. There's a top and then a bottom value. So what this 1-4 means is that if this token is up here in the castle area, it will count as a 1. If it's in the lower section of the board, it'll count as a 4. So when we look for the tiebreaker here, this is a 4 versus a 4. Tiebreaker is whoever has the first player marker, so I would get the 2 and the ghost would get the 1. But the ghost doesn't keep track of resources. It doesn't have to pay for anything. So when we come up here to resolve the castle area, the ghost here have a 5 value up in this room, and they could win this artifact token. They don't have to pay the resources. That's just the value that I have to try to exceed if I want to be able to get past the ghost for this one. So that's a solo mode. You can also use only one of these ghost Automa if you want. In a 2-player game to kind of simulate another player, don't. So anyway, that's how you play this game. Let me give you my thoughts. So Aladdin's Dragons is a game that I really love. It's been in my top 100 for a long time. It is one that I thoroughly enjoy. There's no surprise that I'm going to rate this game very highly because this is a reskinning for the most part of Aladdin's Dragons. I love the face down worker placement mixed with bidding. This idea works really well. I personally like the setting of Aladdin's Dragons more. This one is fine. Keydom is okay. I have no connection whatsoever to Keydom, right? But I'm gonna talk about the merits of this game. Then I'm going to talk about some of the downsides of it, because I do have a lot of mixed feelings about this particular production. But I'm going to try not to just compare it to Aladdin's Dragons the whole time. I will say I prefer the aesthetic of Aladdin's Dragons. I prefer the box size and just a few of the little modern tweaks with this one here. So the reason I really like this game, I love worker placement. I love bidding, that slight auction type of a feel. I love how interactive this game is. There is no limitation. It's not like I went to a spot, I blocked it off from you. No. You can try to outbid me. And because we're playing these tokens face down, I don't know if you're investing a lot of your heavy hitters, or maybe you put a 5 there originally. I put out a big token, and you put out your 2 just to psych me out. So I'm sitting there thinking, should I put my 7 or my 8 out there to try to really outdo you? But maybe you're okay with second place. Maybe it's one of those gem spots. So you're just as much playing the other players at the table as you are staring down at the board. I like that. Not in all of my games, but this has some really meaningful interaction. I love that. The magic spells are a bit chaotic. They can definitely be mean. I play this one. Everybody's to pay 5 gems to the bank. That can really be awful at the wrong moment. And actually, there's most moments where that's pretty awful. But there's other effects, like everybody else has to play their workers face up this round. I can play mine face down. That is so wild, and it changes the tone of that particular round. Now, the magic spells are so strong because they're a lot of investment to get, and not only to get, but to play, because you can play 1 artifact token per round. And so if you spend your magic wand token early in the game, well, that's fine. You don't have a ton of artifacts. But as the rounds go on, you should probably have a lot of artifacts. And a lot of them are so cool. Extra workers that you can place out. Doubling the strength of one of your workers somewhere on the board. Maybe you want to have that cancel a magic spell effect. Rather than play one of your spells, someone else probably has something nasty. So maybe you're going to hold on to that because you don't want that to happen. There's a lot of fun tension with that very simple system. I think that this game is, overall, fairly simple. It has some nuance to it, and it particularly feels old. I think it shows its age. This game does not really modernize too much about it. I think that it definitely is going to show, it's quaint in some ways. The guard gate thing, I wish was a mechanism that was updated a little bit. In the overview example, as long as someone put out a worker here that was strength 4 or more, you get past the guard. That's completely wild. It could be a 10. And you have no way of knowing. It's not like deal or no deal style where, this round there was a 4, but now it's not in, the 4 is not in there for the rest of the game, so you at least know a little bit from round to round. No, it's just completely random. 1 through 10. Could be anything. I find that the magic spells feel like an old system in games, right? Usually a lot of the games do not come out this mean anymore. And it still works for me. It really does. I wish a few things like that were modernized. They did change up a few things. The game now goes up to 6 players. So they have a room, a castle room, where when you get the artifact, there's also a second place artifact. If you saw in the overview, there's a room that has 2 of them. That's neat. There's more rooms. You can use different, number of rooms so the game scales. The game's attempts at going lower player count down to 2 and to 1, I don't like the little ghost mode. I really don't like. I tried playing a solo game of this. I was bored to tears because it's just guessing. It's just guessing where these ghost tokens are going to go out and if they're going to be higher or lower than yours, and you have so little agency. You have no clever play. You're just trying to do things and the ghost will just mess it up. It is a tad bit difficult, but also it's just not fun. This game is all about playing the players at the table, and when you're playing a solo Automa deck of cards, you're just playing random guess generator at that point. I really would not do it. I wouldn't even play this game at 2 players because once again, you're trying to outthink one person and a random deck of cards that's going to put random tokens out there. That might be a 1 versus 4 strength or a 5 versus 9, and there's no real way to know any of that. I also dislike that this game kind of caters towards that Automa by having all of the magic spell cards have 2 different pieces of text on there. The main version of the effect and the ghost version of the effect. And you have to sit there and say, okay, wait, we're playing a normal 3 to 6 player game of it. Hey, everybody, ignore that bottom part. Don't ask what the ghost thing means. That's a solo mode thing. I don't love that. I don't like that visually. It's nice that it's cooked in there for people that want to play the solo, but I cannot imagine anybody that actually wants to play this chaotic, wild, fun, zany game solo. And I don't think I'm the only person here in the office that would say that, but I don't want to I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Why would you want a solo mode for that game?
I think that this is a good package. I like reprints of games that deserve it. Aladdin's Dragons is an awesome game. It's been out of print for so long. I think it deserves this. I would have liked a not Keydom setting. I wish the art were a little bit more modern. It feels quaint still, but here's what I'm coming down on. I don't like the solo mode, the 2-player mode. I think that's a waste, honestly. I would not play this at that player count. This is a 3+ player count game. But if you want a really fun, zany time, if you want to play a game that doesn't quite feel like anything else, this is awesome. I'm glad this is in print. I'm giving Keydom's Dragons a 9 because despite those little complaints, I wish it was a bit more modernized. If they're going to, go through the effort and change a few things, why not change and tweak and improve a few of the other things? But I still love Aladdin's Dragons. I absolutely do. So if you get a chance, if you get a hankering to pick this one up, I really do recommend it. It is so fun. Know that it's a bit mean, but it's a very fun time. So Keydom's Dragon gets a 9 from me. As a solo mode, I'd give it like a 3. So just as a heads up there, if you're looking for this for solo play or for 2-player play, don't recommend it there, but otherwise, amazing game. Thanks for coming by the Dice Tower for another one of our reviews. My name is Chris Yee. I hope that you have yourselves a fantastic day.